5-tube radio with 3 tubes in it, right?
A 5-tube
Say that
radio.
again. It's
I
only
said
got, it's a 3-tube set.
Right, but Crosley said it worked as well as a 5-tube set.
Oh, well, it might.
Why would that be?
Because it was a Crosley,
Ah,
the marketing
No.
thing.
No, it's a,
That's what it is.
what it is, it's a regenerative, but it's also a reflex. So
okay.
they sometimes pretend that they work a little bit better than normal.
Well, that's all about marketing.
That's famous last words.
Yeah. That's all about marketing, you know. That's
You know
that's like in the 70s when they all of a sudden the solid state tuners receivers started boasting that they're putting out 250 watts per channel, you know.
Do you know the story of Crosley? Why they came back with the same name of modern radios?
No, I don't think I heard that one.
Oh, I was wondering about it because like a lot of these modern radios are called Crosley too, right? And they were a good radio back in the day, right? And then these new radios are considered kind of junky Chinese stuff.
I don't know. The ones they had back in the day were not always that great, especially if you owned a Zenith or an RCA.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
that's
middle
true.
of the road to low budget.
Well,
They
that
did
was-
amazing things with fewer components. Let's just put it that way. They were really pretty decent operating radios, I think.
if you ever read the Crosley book, Pal Crosley Jr., his whole idea was to be able to manufacture radios for the common person, common man that was not rich. So he wanted to market radios to for low price that
Sort of like
anybody,
Henry Ford kind of
everybody could afford them. That was his goal. So
like Henry Ford's idea, right? I mean, that was
Yeah.
his idea to be
yeah.
affordable.
So they're not always the top of the line, but
But then they
a lot
brought
of
them
them
back as
do play
as
pretty good.
Crosley names, and then they're like retro radios, right? A lot of them have they look like even tombstones and stuff like that, but they're modern radios, right?
Well, somebody took over and they used the Crosley name, and then they're making modern radios now. You can buy them at Walmart or wherever, Bimart. You can buy them, you know, and they just say Crosley on them. Somebody has gotten that name or paid for it, and then they're having this stuff made in China or wherever, and then they're selling it, you know, nowadays. And a lot of them will have CD players and turntables and everything else on them, you know. But
Well, same thing with Zenith and RCA, right?
yeah, right, exactly. But back in the day, a lot of the radios by Crosley, they all ended in Ola.
I like radiola.
Well, now that was RCA that did that one. They kind of copied that too. And they had a lot of the names.
Motorola,
Like
Pianola.
that. Yeah,
Coca-Cola.
yeah, yeah.
Ola, yeah. I guess that's cold with Ola on the end, right?
Yeah.
So what's
And
Blake working on?
I'm
Yeah.
working on a Detrola 146. One
Nice.
of these.
Oh, yeah.
And right now it's got a little audio problem. Plays very nicely, but no volume control. Volume control appears to be good, so I'm going to go back and look at the wiring. This had previous repair person took some interesting liberties.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
Pat's got his hand up there. What do you want, Pat?
Oh, I thought I would try that. I thought maybe if we could use this raised lower hand, maybe that would, help, to see who could talk next. So I thought
Oh.
I'd just try. Oh, can I go?
Go.
Yeah, go.
Okay. If you remember last week, I was working on the Spilco and it was all unfinished and unstained. It had all the, stuff. So I went ahead and took care of that. And then I used Blake's suggestion. This is the radio finished with the golden pecan. And I think it came out pretty good as far as the color and everything.
Yeah.
Looks sharp.
Looks dark to me.
What'd you say, Blake?
It looks really dark to me, but then again, my phone is singled out Pat's audio, so it's just a black screen.
Oh,
I'm not on
Take the
either.
gallery view.
It looks good, Pat.
oh, okay, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, I
Pat, you
like
have to
it.
hit the gallery view. And then
Yeah.
you can see. Yeah.
The other thing I you guys remember I was working on was that Crosby Cathedral. So this is how that one turned out. I'm not done putting it together. I had to stain everything different colors because the original one was a really dark finish. I think it was dark to hide all these imperfections in the wood because I don't think this is mahogany or walnut or oak. I think this is like alder or ash. And so I had to do a lot of different colors for it to try to, bring out all the different things. So this is a work in progress.
Pat, did you find your toning lacquer that you wanted?
Yes, I went ahead and ordered it through Amazon
Oh, good.
and got the Mohawk. The coloring I wanted, the idea I got from Blake, he said to get the Minwax Golden Pecan, and that was for this Philco here. So I did that, and I think it came out really good.
Yeah.
So my question for this week, and that'll be done, is I'm working on this guy here, and it's like a no-name cathedral radio.
Looks like a Taco Bell radio.
Taco Bell. Yeah.
Could be. The only question, I stripped it, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but right here, there's a bunch of scuff marks. It almost looks like they may have a saw and then went boom, 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 boom. And these are actual like divots in the wood. And so you run your finger over that, it's all bumpy. And I didn't want to take it down with sandpaper because I think I'm going to go through the thin veneer. So do you guys have any idea on how I could fix this without sanding it through and re-veneering it?
You could put all new veneer on it. It's actually, it sounds like a lot of trouble, and it's really not that hard. If you got you don't even need to remove the old veneer, but you just get a piece of veneer, because doing it over the back side of a cathedral like that is not really that hard. As long as you get it so that it's squared up against the front of the radio when you put it on, and use some contact cement. Then you just cover the whole thing over with new veneer, and then you're all set.
Oh, okay. I was going to be cheap and cheat on it because I don't have any veneer, because if I were to do that, I probably would want to do all three sides so they match. I was hoping if there's somebody that has a secret on how to like fill these holes or raise them back up again so that,
Can't you put a filler in there of some sort that would match pretty well, or is it gonna show?
Well, it may show because, if it's not an exact, I think this is walnut. It looks like a walnut kind of grain.
You could use a walnut fill and a graining pencil.
Yeah. Okay, re-veneer it or maybe fill it. I was hoping that somebody would come up with the idea of maybe wetting it, ironing it perhaps.
Well, one thing you can do is you tape around it, just tape right next to the area that you want to fix, and then go ahead and lay it down so it's the repair area is sitting level, and then go ahead and put some water in there, and then that will swell that up. You might have to do it 2 or 3 times, and you let the water dry out. It's actually that could bring it back up to level surface again. It'll swell it up, Pat.
What happens if I use a steam iron and steamed it?
Well, it's hard to keep it right just in that area. You'll end up steaming the whole thing.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
okay.
But you can put just get some masking tape and just tape right around the area that you're trying to fix. Mask it off from the rest of it. and then go ahead, and that'll keep that water and it'll kind of make kind of a trough for it. And fill it up with water and let the water stay in there until it evaporates away. And what'll happen, it'll start swelling that wood, just like, dry rot does, but it doesn't hurt it. It's just gonna make the wood swell up, and eventually you can do that. If it's not a real deep area, it'll start to bring it back up, and you can get it back to level again and sand it down. Try it, it might work, it might not work. I don't know, because I can't see it. But I've done that in the past, and when wood has like a dent in it, it's gotten dented, then you just fill that one little area up, and it starts swelling the wood, and the wood starts to swell up, and it comes back up again. I don't know. You try it.
Okay, appreciate you guys. Thanks. That's all I got.
Looking all good over there.
Let me show you guys my radio while I got it in the middle of my table.
Yeah,
All right.
This is the front of it. It's a Triodyne Special, 3 tubes.
Ooh. That's nice.
And I
Lyles.
think the case is mahogany. I'm not positive.
looks in
Looks like
nice
it.
shape.
Now, can you see the ins?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
There's the
nice.
inside.
That's
And
really
it
nice.
plays. I'm
Lyles.
not going to get it to play for you because I got to get too much stuff out here. But I was playing it this afternoon, and it plays like a regen.
It does.
it plays
it-
carefully with a regen.
Yeah. But it's also got 2 audio transformers, and the second audio transformer is used with a reflex. Not as an audio. Well, it's an audio transformer, but it's in a reflex circuit. So it's reflex and regen combined, and that's probably why if they advertised it as a 4 or 5 tube radio, that's probably why they did it.
What's the difference, Lyles, between a regen and a reflex circuit?
Well, a regenerative detector is just another type of detector, as opposed to a grid leak detector or that type of thing. And reflex is where you have another transformer or coupling method, and you take your audio out of your detector and run it back through your RF amplifier to give you an extra audio stage. And so your first RF amplifier, which just has an RF amplifier in the front, is an RF amplifier and an audio amplifier.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's running the audio all the way back to the RF stage, huh?
Yeah, that's what the reflex part means.
Oh, wow. Wow, nice.
So
It
you got
kinda-
one
it kinda-
tube
What?
So you got one tube that's amplifying the RF and the audio.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
What tube is that?
What tubes? Oh, they're all O1As.
Wow.
From 1924. That's what you'd have.
Yep. Okay.
And
You're
I
right,
know
you're
an O1A for a broadcast band radio could be an RF amplifier. And and an RF detector, and then in addition to an audio tube.
So that thing, it'll drive a speaker then, huh?
It drives the speaker fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Tom Marshall and I built a 4-tube reflex, and it's interesting. They use the detector tube as the dual tube, so it's a detector and an RF.
Was it a dual section tube, or was it just a
No, it's an O1A.
O1A?
Used a grid leak, but what was unique about it is that they were using the detector tube as an RF tube, not as an audio. So it had an RF followed by a detector reflexed for a second RF, and then 2 audio stages after that. And it actually works really well. We made it from an article out of a 1924 magazine, and the article that tells you about the radio was written by Silver Marshall, and it's called A Good 4-Tube Radio. That's the name of it.
Wow.
Anyway, we
Nice.
built 2 of them, and amazing.
You doing okay there, Ed? You're coughing away. Are you going to show your face?
And do you
Okay.
have is your video on? There you are. All right.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Ed.
Yeah, this is my first Wednesday night meeting with you guys.
He's
This
doing
is
okay.
nice.
Come over and
Thank
look.
you. Hey, Blake, the Hoffman is done, complete. I'm gonna try to deliver it Friday or Saturday. Hey, Brian.
Cool.
Hey,
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. If we'd fixed it, if we'd done both the IFs when you were over here, it would have gotten it first time. That's actually
I know.
that's
Yeah,
Lon's radio.
I was telling Mike just before this meeting that even though we did the two IFs, it still had some scratchiness on the FM band. And I thought about it for a day and I went back and I looked and there was one of the 5 ground straps for the tuning condenser had lifted off.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, how in the world does one ground strap make a difference when it's got 5 ground straps for the tuning condenser? So I soldered it back on and bam, it's perfect.
Ground loops.
Ground straps. Yeah.
Apparently, the
Ground
other
strap.
4 weren't important, just the one that launched.
Yeah, right. I should have just done the one.
That's funny.
going, Mike.
It's going good. How are you doing, Brian?
Pretty good. You
Good.
Working on radio?
Huh?
You working on radio?
Yeah, I am. I'm working on a True Tone console right now. And I pretty much got it playing. It's got one little problem I have to figure out. But other than that, it's going to be okay. It's got this thing here, I was talking to Blake about it. You turn the radio on and it starts making this popping, cracking noise through the speaker for just a few seconds. Then it goes away as soon as the radio warms all the way up. And then after that, it just plays fine. So it's something heat related, and not sure what, but I'll try and track it down, figure it out.
Yeah, it could be a tube.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You
I
got a short.
I
got a
tried
short-
putting a rectifier tube in it, a 5Y3. That seems like it might have changed it a little bit. That didn't seem to fix it. It still did that cracking noise, pretty loud too. It's almost like a short or either that or a bad connection or something. So we'll go back over and check all the solder joints in the power supply and everywhere else. And
I'd start by putting a whole new set of tubes in it.
Yep. I've seen too many times where
yeah,
there's a tube that has a short somewhere in its warm-up cycle. And
yes,
you put it in a tube tester and you never see it.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what this acts like. It's just in its warm-up cycle. And then after that, once it warms up, it's okay. So I think you guys have got, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start changing tubes.
Just don't turn it off.
Yeah. I'll tell that it belongs to a guy I'm fixing it for. It's not my radio. And so I'll just have to tell him that. Well, just turn it on and leave it on. Don't ever shut it off.
So Bruce, why doesn't it show up in the test tube?
Why it doesn't show up on a tester?
Uh-huh.
Typically, you're not holding the short button down on that particular element during the full warm-up cycle. And
Right.
depending upon the power conditions on the tube, the tester may never even find it.
Oh, I see.
But it's usually, pieces expanding in the tube, and the
Right.
short comes and goes depending on.
But it seems
how-
like that would be, when you put it in a test tube, it's not warmed up, right? You never warm them up enough, right? So it seems like that would show up before and then not show up if it warmed up, right?
Well, typically in
You
your
get that.
tester, you're looking at one element during
Oh,
a
I
short
see.
test at
You're
a time.
separating them.
And depending on where you get it in the warm-up cycle, you might get it, you might not.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's hard to really nail down with a tube tester. You're right, Bruce. So,
Would a curve tracer figure that out?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily either, huh? Okay.
It
Well,
would
then I don't
probably,
want one.
it would probably, you would probably be able to see the curves jumping around.
That reminds me, with tube testers, how you can get faked out. One time I had an AC/DC radio and I had I checked all the tubes and got done with the radio, recapped it, put it all in there, and all the tubes checked good. Put it all together and turned it on, and I had nothing. And none of the tubes were lit up.
Oh,
So I went back and I started checking it. All of the tubes checked fine. What in the world is going on? So finally, I thought, well, let me just check the thing with an ohm meter on the filaments, because I'm getting no filament string, right? I checked the wiring, checked everything else, all the feeds going in. The tube checker was checking the 35Z5 through the tap on pin 3 instead of checking it on pin 2. And the tube was open between 2 and 3, was no good, but the tube tester checked it fine. That was the whole problem. And I thought, how dumb, why would they do that? So, that at least I found it. That was my problem. I just stuck another 35Z5 in and away we go. I couldn't believe it.
Usually the string goes clear through, but this one
Yeah.
went just to the tap, huh?
It did. It went right just to the tap. That was the way they designed the tube checker.
Oh, the tube checker. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was checking between pins 7 and 3. And
So should
not-
you use two
not from
separate
7
tube
to
testers?
2. And so you had an open between 2 and 3. You would never see it because it would have a good connection right between 3 and 7 on that tube.
So what voltage was it driving the tube at? Filament voltage?
Oh,
25?
it's 35 volts.
Okay, so they're putting more volts across that portion of the filament than it was designed for.
Well, maybe. Yeah, possibly, because
Because you've got a 6 volt tap, right? For a pilot light.
well, you get 6 volts out of it, but it's coming right off that 35 volt filament. And then what it does, it feeds back over usually to the plate. So rather than to a full ground. So then therefore that's where you're getting your pilot lamp at. But it's a 35 volt tube.
Clear across, but it's 29 and 6 volts between the taps, right?
Yeah.
So the tube tester
Oh,
was
yeah.
put
Right, yeah.
35 on the
That's
29
right.
volt tap.
That's right. Yeah. And so I don't know why they would have done that, but they did. It was a night tube tester, and that's the way it was built. So
Yeah,
don't
good
ask
night.
me. Good night. Yeah. It blew me away because I thought for sure, you'd think they would. Exactly. You're right. You'd think they'd be checking the filament from 2 to 7 and not the pilot lamp tap.
I thought that was a Joe project. He doesn't usually do Detroit or whatever. This is mine.
Right after Gary's.
Nope.
Don't put any action on the volume control.
So what's Rick working on? You got on mute first, Rick.
I'm not working on a radio well, I have one on the bench that's been giving me all kinds of fits. I got one of those Abbotswear horse radios, they have the statue of the horse and
Yeah.
the little, well, it's just a simple AC/DC 5 tube, all American 5 radio. And I don't know, I discovered that you can't find a decent schematic for the thing. They're just, I did a bunch of searches and I found one schematic and it didn't really do that well with the radio. And so then I did some rewiring things on it and I made some errors somewhere. I tried to redraw the schematic and redrew it wrong. And I think there was an error on the schematic to begin with.
oh, boy.
Oh, I've ran into that.
Well,
And so, right now I'm probably going to rewire the radio I found a schematic for just an All-American 5 tube radio,
Hey, Brian.
just
Well-
generic thing. And I think I'll probably wire it up for that and get it to going. But I haven't been working on it lately.
What year is it?
Those things, they made them in the late 40s,
Uh-huh.
47, 48, 49, along in that era.
Does Sam's Photo Fax have a schematic for it?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Okay.
I would think that it would pop up in an internet search somewhere.
You would think,
But
yeah.
I haven't seen anything Riders or Sam's.
What's the make and model number on it?
Well, it's an Abbotsware, and I forget the model. It's Z something something.
Yeah.
I forget what. I haven't sat at my bench in a couple of weeks. I've been doing woodwork at home. I'm building myself a chassis holder that's adjustable. And it's always one thing after another. So to be able to build this chassis holder, first I needed a table saw. So I built myself a table to hold my circular saw, and that's working pretty well now. So now I've got all the parts cut, and I'm putting together this chassis holder. And then my daughter told me she wanted a couple of tables, so I'm going to be building a couple of tables for my daughter. So trying to find time to sit at the bench and actually work on anything pretty limited.
So you're gonna be
I get there eventually.
You're gonna be making more sawdust then.
Probably.
Yeah.
I brought the speaker. too.
All right.
That's all I'm working on right now.
What are you making your tables out of, Rick? What kind of wood?
I'm using 3/4 inch birch plywood.
Okay, that's pretty.
It's sanded birch. It's decent stuff, and trying to keep the cost down. Although that's expensive, almost $30.
Oh, it's not cheap.
I'm buying
it's
these
expensive.
2 foot by 4 foot sheets.
Kind of unusual. It's like probably the plug-ins and auxiliary. Just for some reason.
So everybody survived the ice and the snow here?
Too far north for ice. It was just snow here.
Yeah, boy, we got hit really hard with the ice. We got crap all over the place. One day I just sat out there on the patio and looked at the beautiful ice scene and listened to the crashes and the cracks and crap falling down. It was,
Yeah, it was exciting, but it was breaking up.
That Safeway by you was out of power last night. I saw that.
Yeah.
Were you out of power again?
I was on a generator for 3 days. Yeah. Backfed here and there. I found out that you can't backfeed through GFIs.
Oh, wow.
They don't let you through.
They don't like that.
No. So I had to go around the GFI to get anywhere. But got the gas furnace going and things like that. So, and the microwave. Got to have gas or heat and microwave.
Gotta heat that coffee.
Heat and microwave, man. That's that and your phone.
Yeah. Didn't have internet though, because Comcast was out of power around here also.
Yep. Couldn't do a hotspot on your phone.
Oh, I could have, yeah.
It's just so slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets you email anyway.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Brian. How about you? Oh, that's nice.
I've
And I
got
put the TV on the antenna. And that worked well. Kept the wife happy.
that's important. Nothing
Yeah.
worse than electricity and the wife not happy.
Yeah, so, you get this elbow about 6 o'clock in the morning, Can you go out and start the generator?
You go do it.
go out and start the generator and climb back in bed for a half hour.
This guy sure rambles the whole time.
You didn't have it
What's
too
the,
bad, Cowdy, did you?
What are you
No.
powering? What are you powering the generator with, Bruce?
Gasoline.
Gasoline.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got a chassis. I'm hoping to do some checking on with your dad later.
So I got this nice little Honda inverter generator, and it's sits in the travel trailer, and pulled it out, and oh God, it's got gas in it. Last time we used that, when was it? You know, so it didn't start. So I got the bigger generator out, and it was nice and dry, and just put gas in it, and one pull, a sucker fires right up, you know. So I had to rinse the gas out of the Honda and clean it up, and then that went over to my sister-in-law's so that they could use the microwave.
You buy that non-ethanol gas for that generator?
No, I've
Oh.
never bothered with it. I just usually empty them when I'm not using them.
Oh, yeah, that makes
That's a good idea.
So after we were done with them, I basically changed the oil and drained the gas, and we're ready for the next.
Yeah, if you get the gas drained out, you're probably pretty good. I've found a source for non-ethanol, and that's what I use in all my generator, my lawnmowers and tillers and all that stuff, gas engines that are carbureted, because if you let them sit, that's the bad thing, is if you let the engine sit and let that stuff dry out, the ethanol gas will varnish up, and then it starts plugging off your fuel jets inside your carburetor. And then the only way to fix that is to pull the carburetor off and then spray it down with the carburetor cleaner and get that varnish cleaned out of those jets. And but if you use the non-ethanol gas, which I found a place here over in Cornelius, I can get it for $5 a gallon. And yeah, but here's the thing, if you use that, then you never have a problem with any of your carbureted engines.
I use the regular gas, and you know, the end of the season for the lawnmower, I'll shut the gas off on it and just run it until the carburetor's dry.
Yeah, you're good to just do that.
Yeah,
That works.
and so I've really not had any big issues other than that Honda, but that gas was really old. And I usually have 10 gallons of gas behind the shop, and every fall I go and throw it in the Durango and get fresh gas, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not been over, you know, much over a year on any gas that I've had around.
How's the Durango driving?
Not a problem. It's diluted in another 10 gallons worth of gas.
Right. Yeah, you've got it diluted enough.
So anyway, yeah, that's how I kind of cycle. A lot of people use stable, but I haven't bothered with it because I don't use, you know, I burn it once a year. I have a friend down in California, down near LA, and they can get about 3 months without stable. The heat really makes the gas fall apart with the
Yeah, it probably
the
does.
ethanol.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, the extra heat's not good for it.
Yeah, I
It
use the
ages
stable
much
too.
faster.
I use the stable too. It works, you know, but you always got to mix it up, and then you got to mix the right quantity and do all of that falterol. And I just found it a lot easier just to get non-ethanol gas. And then I get 5 gallons of that, and that lasts me for the summer or however long. And then I don't have to worry about it. And then I burn that up in the lawnmower. And then usually I don't have to throw it in my car. I only get 5 gallons, and that's good for about one season, depending on what machines I'm using. But
Then
You
I don't
know,
have to worry about it.
someone told me in the last couple of years that if you buy the higher octane gasoline, there's less or maybe even no ethanol in it. Is that true? Have any of you heard that before?
I don't think so.
No, because I think that they don't, I don't know, but as far as I know, it's the same, but they just have higher octane. So the higher octane makes the fuel so it won't ignite
Right.
But-
as easy, you know.
But the
under high
ethanol will
compression.
lower your octane level.
The
They-
ethanol actually raises the octane level.
Does it raise octane level?
Yeah,
Yeah, it would, that makes sense. I would imagine it would.
but not a lot.
The higher octane, all that is, it just prevents the fuel from igniting under high compression.
I forget what they're using now instead of lead
Like compression.
Yeah,
to increase the octane. But they're tossing something in there.
yeah, I don't know. They, when did they do? They did away with that. I think it was in the 80s, something like that. Leaded fuel, they got rid of it, and I don't know what they're using in its place, if anything.
It
It was
may be
rough
a
on my
different-
motorcycle when they stopped making leaded gas. That lead was what they used to lubricate the valves.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And without that, overheated and fused.
Huh.
Yeah, they really had to do some redesign and valve trains on cars when they switched over,
Yeah.
because that
Yeah, I-
really lubricated the seats and the stuff.
I had the same thing, Oz. I had a 1940 Harley Davidson knucklehead, and I would always, in fact, for a long time, 76 carried leaded gas and no one else did. And then I always used that in that motorcycle.
Hmm.
And then, you know, when they finally quit it, and that I still had you could buy you can buy additives, and I always did that, you know, because I didn't want to ruin that knucklehead engine, you know.
And that's what I did for my Norton 850 was buy the stuff you pour in the gas.
Yes, I did too on that Harley, yeah.
Okay.
I still put lead add in for the Datsun.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the unleaded gas, the only thing I've had trouble with was chainsaw. And basically it dissolved the plastic tubing that
Really?
carries the gas.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that happened to me too. It melted the gas line
Yeah,
from the tank to the carburetor.
yep. Uh-huh. Anyway, I got a chainsaw with a melted fuel line right now, but I've
Got an
switched,
electric chainsaw that solves that problem.
yeah, so I switched to electric.
No, that fixes it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always within reach of an extension cord, so
Yeah,
don't have to worry about mixing gas for the 2-cycle and all that
right,
crap.
right. Yeah, I use the non-ethanol gas and to mix the fuel for the 2-stroke engines. I got a few of them. I got a rototiller that's a still, got a lot of still stuff. And I got a 2-stroke still rototiller, and then I've got a still chainsaw that I mix the gas with. But I always use the non-ethanol, so this hasn't given me a problem.
Guys, I'm starting to fade here, so I'm gonna take my leave.
Okay. I don't
Okay.
blame you. What time
I
is
see you,
it?
Rick. Take care.
It's 10:39,
10:39. Yeah, I was just gonna say
3 hours past you, so.
it's 7:39 here. Yeah.
So Rick, how's the COVID shots doing back there?
Well, I've got both of mine.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, my wife and I managed, well, it helps that we're old enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're getting to it. It's still we got ours through the Duke medical system. The state is actually starting to get vaccine out to all the counties around. And it's still kind of
Messed up.
just a horror show, but
Did you have any side effects from the actual shots?
no, I did. Neither of us did. Neither my wife nor I. We had the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine, and we were told, well, the second shot is the one that's going to kick your butt, and it didn't. We neither of us had any problems from it. So, you know.
My wife gets her second one tomorrow, so we'll see what happens with her.
Good, good.
Hers is Pfizer too.
You
My
guys in Washington,
daughter-in-law had hers. She works at a assisted living place, so they all had to take it. And that was what happened to her. Her second shot, I mean, it wasn't real bad. She got kind of sick and felt lousy. And it lasted about a day or, like a 24-hour bug or whatever. Yeah. And then went away and she was fine after that.
those guys in Washington state, they're on the ball over there. Boy, I fought the internet, and you fill this in time after time after time, and you go and okay, now you can set up a date. So you go to the dates. Well, here are all these dates that are marked that you can have. And you click on it, and no, you can't have it. And you just
yeah, it's a whole.
Finally got through, and so I'm getting my first one this Friday. But wow,
it was amazing here in Washington. We went out, signed Carrie up, and they took us through, drive into a building. The National Guard gave her a shot. And by the time we got out of the building and out into the parking lot, they'd already sent her another email to schedule her second shot. So while she was waiting in the parking lot, her 15 minutes, and they had an ambulance and more corpsmen and more National Guard out there. She went ahead and made her second appointment, and it's 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we'll go do it and see how she does.
Wow, that's great.
Was that
Brian and I are on the way later list.
So was that at the Clark County Fairgrounds?
Yeah, it was. And it was, I thought it was really nice. I hear all of these horror stories, but ours hasn't been that way so far.
So our farm was about 2 miles west of the fairgrounds.
Good night, you guys.
We had 4,800 pear trees there.
Cheers, Rick.
Cheers. What are you working on, John?
This is a 1949 RCA Victor. Big radio.
Yeah, let's see if we can get you a picture of it here. It's ugly.
Cool.
No, maybe not that hand.
AM, FM with short.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's got lots of tubes. It's even got tubes sticking out of the back of it.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. Wow, that is cool. Look at that.
3 of them down here.
Big slide rule dial.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go ahead and jump off of here because we're gonna need the whole bench.
So you're gonna toss us off the end, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna. He says he wants to align it, and I said maybe we should plug it in and try it first. I would say that's the optimism.
See you later, Blake.
All right, cheers, guys.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
I'm going to disappear too. I'm falling asleep here, so
Okay.
I'll see you all come next week.
All right, Oz.
All right.
Take care.
See you later, Avi.
So what's Mark up to?
He's got his. Oh.
Not doing too much of anything except recovering from that shoulder surgery.
Ah,
Ah,
What happened?
I last slipped last October, so in December I had a rotator cuff repair,
Oh,
and that's just been what, 8-9 weeks ago now.
well, those take a
So,
while. Oh,
They tell
man.
me I can't lift
Yeah,
anything over 2
it
pounds
does.
with my right hand. So I'm not really doing too much of anything that involves any lifting.
Mhm.
yeah, I
Yeah,
would.
those take a while to recover from, man. My wife went through that.
Hold on, my daughter-in-law's calling me. I'll mute.
So what's that up to?
well, you know, I,
The Hoffman, huh?
like I talked about before, I just finished up this AM FM radio, 1951 Hoffman console. And it gave me some headaches, but I finally got through it. It plays beautifully. It's got a big 12-inch speaker driven by 4 output tubes. And man, you can make the walls rattle with this thing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
My folks had one about that age, 1950 something.
Yeah.
It just had push-pull 6v6s and a 15-inch speaker. Well, it had
Yeah.
a 15-inch speaker and a 6-inch, I think.
Oh, okay.
And the 6-inch sat inside the 15-inch.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
A two-way
wow,
speaker.
that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, but they were separate speakers. Yeah,
Oh, boy.
Huh,
maybe it was 5-inch, but anyway.
If you
Well, this
guys
thing
need-
has a nice tuning eye tube on it. And so, you know, you start tuning the FM and the stations come in very sharply, very quick and sharp. And you can use that tuning eye to really refine the signal reception. It's really nice.
Yeah, good, good.
And
Have
the
you guys
lady,
looked at that sale down in Crawfordville? Excuse me, Ed, go ahead.
oh, the lady that bought the radio, she found it at like a kind of a Goodwill type of place. And it was missing the turntable. So it has it had a turntable in it originally. And so I was on the internet this morning looking up that model of radio, and I found some website that had an actual photograph of the turntable. So I'm going to give that to her, and she can hunt that down if she wants. And that'd be nice if you get the whole package back together again. But otherwise, the she's gonna be quite happy with the way the radio plays.
Yeah, the folks, theirs had a turntable in it also, but yeah, you can put about any kind of turntable in there, I would think. May not look quite original, but
Yeah.
you know, more modern turntable might be a lot better anyway.
yeah, it might.
I don't.
Well, I
really-
looked it up, Mike. It says Shell and Esso, the 91, the premium, has no octane in it, but other
Oh.
have octanes in it. And then
Oh,
Bruce is right. The E85 has more octane than like 112 in E85 because of the ethanol.
Hmm.
But they say you get worse gas mileage, don't they, with the E85?
Yeah, there's not as much energy in alcohol.
That's right.
So you're diluting the energy content down.
And
So the
you're,
octane has
you're
nothing to do
lowering-
with the energy level. Huh?
you're lowering the ignition factor too with the higher octane, so. But it seems like since they've gone to ethanol, since everything pretty much on vehicles is 100% fuel injection, they don't have the problem with them, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just because the ethanol, the only thing that it is harmful to is carburation and varnishing up the little jets. And of course, if you're driving your car every day anyway, you know, it's not going to be harmful at all.
But what it did, you've got carbureted cars that have been squeezed to the limit with EPA.
Oh, yeah.
And then you throw alcohol at it and that just leans it out further.
Right.
So now you got stumbling issues.
Yeah.
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 You're running too lean.
Way too lean because the fuel jets are plugged up.
Well,
But-
it's the fuel's diluted.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
That too on top of it. But then what makes it worse, or what fouls the carburetor up, is the tiny little fuel orifices, the jets. That's where the ethanol, if you let it set in there, it will start to varnish up, and then it plugs them up or
It
closes
seems like it
them
would do
down.
that to a
That
fuel
leans it
injected
out
car.
even more. So then you have to have the choke on to make it even run, and that's not right. So the only way to fix it is to clean the carburetor out, so it compounds it.
Again, you just need to leave it running.
Yeah. Kind of
Never
like your
turn it off.
radio. You just leave that radio on, don't turn it off.
That's where you see melted cases though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, regarding yard tools, gasoline tools, I got a lot of tree trimming to do around the house here. And so I made the move to buy a battery powered pole saw.
Oh yeah, which one did you get?
This one, I think it's called Oregon, and it's got a 40-volt lithium ion battery
Wow.
with a quick charger,
That's
and
heavy duty.
and it what else? 6 amp hours on the battery too. So I can do a lot of work without having to stop and recharge it in a day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be delivered this week someday, and I'm looking forward to that because this snowstorm took down. Well, it took down one branch, and there's 2 others hanging in the tree, and I'm going to get those down before they fall on my head.
Good idea.
That's high dollar though, right? I was looking like the Harbor Freight version is like $60 or something like that. Plug-in
Well,
one.
as far as I'm concerned, the more volts you have, the better it is.
Yeah.
And they talk about this as the battery as not fading away as it discharges. It's going to keep full power until it stops. It's not going to drain down where you get a slower and slower.
That's typical lithium though, right? I mean, that's what a lot of lithiums do.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but it's I need something here because I got a half a dozen trees around the house and brush, and I need to top the brush and stuff like that. And I'm not
So what do you have to
I'm
pay
not
for?
going to get up on a ladder with a handsaw and do it anymore.
I figured I could do it from my chair too, right?
Yeah.
Pole saw.
Yeah, come on over, Franklin. I'll let you
Yeah.
try it out.
You let me try it out.
Yeah.
What do you have to give for it? The Oregon?
How much?
Yeah,
Oh, it's about a $500 piece.
yeah. Oof.
Yeah. I mean, I was on the internet comparing and checking all the others, and I'm not gonna fart around with trying to cut
Plugging it
costs.
in. You
Yeah.
don't want to be cutting any cords.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I've been shopping around too because I have a tulip tree in my front yard that's laying out now. It's on. The neighbors helped me to get it out of the road, but the rest of it is in the yard.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
My neighbor has an
get,
oak tree in their backyard.
did it get damaged from the snow, you mean, and ice?
For it broke it in 4 places, 4 huge limbs. I don't know if it'll survive.
Oh, boy. No, it'll survive. It just won't grow in the right direction that you want.
It split up pretty bad. It was
It'll
full
come
of
back.
blossoms too. I mean, every branch had a little blossom on it. That's why it fell. Every branch
Ah.
had a bunch of ice on it.
Oh, son of a gun. It was in bloom. then
It was
when the
starting to
snow-
bloom. It blooms before it leaves. It's bizarre. And there's nothing
Wow.
but pink leaves all over the place. Then it drops all its leaves in the fall and it blooms again. It's the bizarrest tree.
Odd.
It'll survive. It'll come back.
Yeah, I'll cut it back and hopefully it'll look okay. But it's 40 years old. I
That's
planted
young.
it from the start.
That's
So
young
anyway-
for a tree.
Yeah, old for me, but young for a tree.
So anyway, Ed, your saw is under electronic control. You know, it's not just a power switch in those things.
Right.
It's probably actually got a DC magnet motor in it, but it's driven with AC. So they convert
Really?
it. Yeah.
Some
they
kind of an
convert it.
inverter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rectifier.
Well, it's actually
Right.
puts out 3-phase for rotary to rotate the armature that's got magnets on it.
All
It's-
right.
Just like a Tesla, only a little smaller.
All right. I'll tear it apart and check it out before I use it.
Yeah. Also, so you're not going to see anything much over 40 volts
Right.
because UL limits you at 48 volts for safety,
Uh-huh.
so that you don't get your fingers into something any higher than 48 volts.
Yeah. Good to know. Thank you.
So what are they doing with the 60-volt lawnmowers? Is that something that UL's let go by?
Well, that's over the normal UL limit. 60 volts, huh?
Yeah, the lawnmowers, the power lawnmowers, they have 60-volt lawnmowers. But I don't know anything about them, but other than that,
Well,
that's what they're advertising.
they might be totally enclosed, too. So,
Yeah. So you can't get your fingers on the battery contacts.
yeah, it's got a warning thing on there, just like the back of your Zenith radio that says, don't remove this or modify this plug-in, when you take the back off of this radio. And it's, they're usually the later ones were hot chassis,
Yeah.
The ones in the 50s, the AM, FM radios, stuff like that, even the AM radios. And they put that back on there and it had the plug on as part of the back. So then when you pull the back off, you're pulling the plug off the radio. And then, there's no way that you can possibly get harmed with that.
Except that's with all the cheater cords.
And except, until you start using a cheater cord, which probably all of us have one.
Oh, yeah.
ASCO did that with their dishwashers because they ran neutral through the chassis. And so when you pulled the back off, it had a little switch that would just kill everything. So they just put a little contact switch on the back, and as you pulled the back off, it would just kill everything.
Yeah.
So people would put it all back together and they'd light it up and leave the back off, and it wouldn't work. So they'd be freaking out. Well, why isn't it working? Well, push that little switch there, it'll work. It's a Swedish design. I guess that was a European thing. They also have water detectors underneath them. So when they leak, they have a float that raises up, kills all the circuits too. Like basically a kill switch to cut off the water. Yeah. It's a European requirement.
My son's dishwasher didn't have that. The electric element in it melted the bottom of the dishwasher and the water just flowed out.
The American style, that's why.
Gee,
Yeah.
These are European requirements.
A plastic dishwasher with a heating element that goes around at the base there.
They outlawed those though.
And if you haven't got enough water in it.
Yeah, if you don't have enough water in there, then it's gonna melt.
But boy, it would dry the dishes though. Those heating elements would, because they basically cook everything inside there.
Yeah.
They outlawed them because you can't use that much electricity in a dishwasher these days. They are not star rated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Was back when they were space age design.
I've seen them where a fork had fallen down, touches the heating element, and melts right through the case. Because that fork gets so hot, it just pierces the case. And then they're like, it leaks. Well, you look in there and there's a fork melted right through the plastic of the dishwasher.
That's what they call the China syndrome.
Meltdown, right?
Well, guys, I've got a meeting for nighttime, so I work time, so I should probably go to work.
Okay,
See you
Dave,
later, Dave. Take
Yep.
care.
take it easy.
Have a
I'm
good
gonna-
Thanks for coming, Dave.
I'm gonna butt out of here too. I gotta go do some
I
things.
am too, I have to call my, son and daughter-in-law. They called me up and they want something. I'm not sure what it is. So
Oh.
I'm gonna have to bug out and then give them a call.
Cross your
I'm gonna
fingers.
take off too. I'm gonna take off too, guys. See everybody.
All right,
next
good to
week.
see everybody.
Bye,
Good night,
everybody.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right, good night.
Good night.